Okay, I'm going to call to order the meeting of the Ad Hoc Grant Search Committee for November 4th. It's a little after 2 o'clock, and we have 3 of our 4 committee members, Diana Fetterman, Kate Brooks, and myself, Chris Fowles, and Ed Gibson may be joining us, not sure. But thanks, guys, for getting together. It was a little bit of a short notice. I realized that I hadn't had a meeting in a while, and I managed to get this scheduled just in time, I think. We shouldn't have too long a meeting today. The real purpose of getting together was to take a look at the draft of the report for the select board. So I'll give you guys a few minutes to take a look at that. I'll put it up on the screen in a minute. As you probably know, I think, Kate, you're on also next Tuesday night for Board of Health. We've got the various departments and committees each giving a report out probably a couple of times a year. There's too many of us to be quarterly, and we don't need it that frequently anyway, given the various liaisons to the committees, to many of the committees, not everyone, but many of the committees. But we just felt at select board that it was more beneficial to hear directly from somebody on the board or the department head themselves. So just to get a more a bigger overview, I guess, because I think a lot of times when all of us go from select board as liaisons, you know, we get that piece of information from that meeting, we come back and report that, but it's not quite as comprehensive as it might be. So we thought this would be a good chance to kind of look at things from a different perspective. So that's why these meetings are being held, and Ed said he is coming on here. So let me just catch him in a minute. But anyway, so the real purpose of the agenda today was to really review those reports. I don't think we have any minutes to review, and maybe Kate, I know with you been a busy schedule and all sorts of things changing. I did look, and we do have finally the last 2 videos posted up on our website. So if you needed to look at those for minutes, or if you sent minutes and I may have missed them, but it was for the last meeting in September when Charlie joined us for a little bit, and then the early one in October. So there are 2 there if you have a chance to get to some minutes at a future point here for our next meeting.
I will do that. I'm sorry.
No, that's okay. Not a problem. No. I really wanted to have a couple of things done here. So, and I think Ed is coming on just about now. So there he is. Hi, Ed. Great. So, great. We're just getting started, Ed. And really the only purpose of this meeting was to have everybody kind of review this draft report that I'd put together as chair of the committee, but trying to put it together wearing my select board hat at the same time. So we're on for next Tuesday's meetings. And so this is what I've drafted up, and more than welcome for comments and suggestions. There is a little bit of a format that we had asked people to try and use just to get some similarity with the kinds of information that was being given to select board. So if you want to take a few minutes to look through it, is it visible enough for everybody to read? Is it okay?
Yes. I missed that memo about the similar format for so sorry about that.
Oh, that's okay. It's basically looking at current priorities, budget spending concerns, personnel issues, if any, things that we're working on for the next 4 to 6 months, and then any issues that select board needs to be particularly aware of. So there's 4 or 5 categories just to do that. So, you know, you could maybe just speak to them when you do your presentation. That's fine.
And I can send you an update later too. I'm sorry.
So what's here, basically, I was just reminding people, we actually only formed as a committee a year ago. And in reality, we were given a charge by select board. We were only actually appointed for a year until the end of November. So that's one issue that I'll bring up in a minute. And then I tried to indicate the various people that we had involved in our various discussions on grant applications from the different committees and department heads, and that's in that second paragraph right under the bullets. I think we did a pretty good job of reaching out to people that we needed to. You know who I totally forgot is the Parks Commission. Oh my God. How could I possibly do that? All right, I remind myself I'm going to add in the Parks Commission. I will put them in right in there somewhere. That's amazing. Okay. And let's see. If anybody notices anything else that's missing, how could I forget that one? I guess it's been so much on my mind here. Budget spending.
What is the sixth grant we're supposed waiting to hear back on?
The Community Compact IT one from the Tech Committee.
Oh, right.
Yeah, we should hear by the end of the month, I think, with all goes well.
That's a quick turnaround, which is nice.
Yeah, that was pretty good. It went in middle of October, I believe. So yeah, it's only been a couple weeks. So budget spending and status, I just thought I'd bring out that point that we need to always keep in mind about trying to build in any ongoing operational costs where we can, if the grant allows that, because that is an issue. Personnel staffing, just a note that we have a possibility of 7 people, but we've been working fine with only 4 so far, and that seems to be fine. I'm not particularly looking for anyone else to join us unless there's somebody out there who would love to join us that's got some experience that could help us out. So plans for the next few months, these were just ones that are grants that are coming up that we've talked about a little bit that may or may not be of interest to us, but these are the deadlines coming up probably in the next 6 months. So the February to April, May ones are kind of what's ahead of us that look like the most relevant ones. But again, the notion is that, the committee is theoretically ending as of the end of November, unless we get reauthorized by the select board. And then lately here, long-term issues, I'll just jump down and I'll put up a chart in a minute that shows these dollar values. So what I wanted to feature was not just what the grant search committee had done, but also the efforts that other departments and committees have made to get grants. And that in itself has been pretty impressive, and I'll show you that in a minute. But that totaled around 200, and I just wanted to double check these figures, that's why they're in yellow. 217,406 for other departments and committees. And then through our efforts so far, 5 grants or $431,624 actually awarded, with 72,810 still pending, and that was the amount of the Community Compact IT grant. So if we got that, then what we could take credit for, I guess I would say, would be 504,434. And altogether, when you put them together, and I'm going back to like October last year, so pretty much when we were created, October to October, or October to November, whatever you want to call it. That would be, depending on what comes in, if anything comes in for the Community Compact IT, a good $720,000 of grant funding coming into the town, which I think is no small feat. And again, a combined effort. But I do think it's important to just keep in mind this, what I was calling the after grant award cost. So Ed, please feel free to chime in on this, because a lot of this lands on your head here. Just the time involved in submitting required reports and accounting for the expense per the program deadlines. And I just said much of this will fall to the project manager of a specific grant and the town accountant. Any bidding processes will necessitate the involvement of the town administrator. This is an additional workload that can affect other priorities and result in delays either in daily work or in meeting grant program deadlines. Anything else we could say or suggest? I mean, I I stopped short of suggesting a part-time procurement officer, but I don't know.
No, you don't need that.
Yeah. So I don't know. Is that an accurate statement, Ed, that a lot of this would end up falling to the accountant at some point, right?
Oh, well, it all ends up
Yeah. Well,
falling to the accountant at some point, correct?
yeah. On the money side of it, at least any activity side is really still pretty much with the designated person for the grant, right? So.
Well, then, but when they submit those payments and whatever, that comes back and goes through the town accountant again.
Yeah. Okay. True. Okay. All right. So it really is an extra bit on the town accountant. I don't know if we see that as a normal part of that job. Are we putting extra work on there because of the volume of grants we're getting? I'm open to hearing anything on that. I'm gonna.
Well, the more grants we get, yes, the more burden it falls on.
Yeah.
That department to, especially when you've got some of these outlining committees or whatever that ends up with them. The accountant has to, set up a revenue account and an expense account for it. And then as the, grants meet their deadlines, and to make sure that those boards, committees, or departments have, submitted for their reimbursement by those deadlines.
Right. Okay. Good point. Yeah, because I think the majority of everything we've gotten here are reimbursement grants. So we have to spend first for the most part, and then get reimbursed. So that does require people turning in receipts on time, etc. Okay, I can just add a little bit to that. Is there anything else out of the narrative that you saw that was? I mean, feel free for any other comments or edits, but I was going to take this down and let me just show you the chart, because I think that's what's kind of just sort of amazing in its own right here. And I was waiting on one small thing, but we can go for it. So this is the chart of what's come in from the various efforts of the various departments and committees other than us. And I was just waiting for Ian. I wasn't sure, I couldn't remember exactly what the training and support and incentive grants were going to be used for and what the end dates were. So I've asked Ian to chime in on that. So I was hoping to hear from him maybe later today or at the latest tomorrow morning. But nonetheless, these are the grants from the police department, fire department that they have been able to get, and their uses. And then one down here from the neighborhood outreach project for the open space committee. And then Diana, these were the couple ones from the bank and Walmart, and I don't think they had an expiration from what you remembered, right? It's just that we just.
No, they just gave us the money.
Yeah.
Someday I'd like to, send them
Right.
a photo of the finished kiosk or something.
Right. And so both of those contributions go towards one kiosk. Is that right?
Well, I'd have to go back and look at
Okay.
it. I think we just told each person. In the original grant, we had said 2 kiosks, but not in this letter to those 2 entities.
Okay.
We just
Yeah,
said a kiosk.
I had in my head that there might be 2, one at East Street and one at Brickyard, but I totally could be wrong on that. So I wasn't sure. I didn't need to get more specific, but I just thought
I think that might have been on the original grant, but then the original grant was less than we'd asked for. So we already modified that
Okay.
and said just 1 kiosk.
Okay. All right. Well, whatever. And then this.
And boy, is that a thorn in my side.
Yes, I know. The DLTA grant coming out of PVPC. So this ended up being, I think I'm right, Ed, we'd call this an in-kind grant because we don't actually get cash on this. It's PVPC charging their time and effort. And this one did have $15,000 for the housing plan and $22,500 for the shared town HR support. And Ed reminded me that there was one from the Historical Commission that actually is part of this, that was another 15,000 that actually got awarded in 2020, but it's still ongoing because they extended it. So I guess I could add 15,000 here and put that in, even though it came in the previous year. I didn't want to go too far back, but I could just maybe make a footnote there without adding it in the total dollars, because it was technically, it's not money that comes into us, it's person time, and that person time is already pretty much done with anyway. So that's where this 37.5 just came out as the total of those two. A couple here from the highway department, for the highway department there. Mass Trails, this is for Concom and Diana. This one I'm just talking about the one this year, not Mass Trails number 1, but just the second one that got awarded this fiscal year. Is that correct? In terms of my timing? And Ed gave me the date on that.
That's the bridge.
Right, just the bridge one is this year, right? You got it at the same time as the Greenway one. So that one, Ed told me, ends at the end of December 2023. So I will add that one in.
The bridge?
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's a 2-year.
Okay. All right.
2-year grant.
Mhm.
I guess I don't know, Ed, you had mentioned that I think at one point the transfer station one, that's an annual grant. So I'm assuming that's a fiscal year grant, or would it end on the fiscal?
I'd have to go back.
Yeah. Well,
Yeah, I'd have to go back and take a look. But they put in for it every year, and they usually get something out of it.
Yeah, I think this was awarded like in November, so I don't know. I'm gonna kind of guess. I can just put that in parentheses that we don't know. I was trying to just get some timelines, but anyway, all of that added up to that 200 and whatever I put up here, 217,406. And then down from the committee point of view, if we can sort of pat ourselves on the back, this is where we are. So 431,624 thus far, with 72,810 pending. And I believe I've got the correct end dates here.
How's the sidewalk project going?
Well, it's out to
It's
bid, right?
It's out there to bid, and the bids are due back in not this upcoming week, but the week after.
Yeah. So hopefully we can at least get something with that. It certainly isn't, I don't know, with the weather changing, it would be hard pressed to see that we can get this done by December. So we will have to probably, I'm guessing, I don't know. I won't be surprised if we have to go back for an extension on this, and hopefully they would be nice to give it to us. But others are coming up. The other one that will be in June will be that first one that we got, actually. So these aren't in order of where we got them, when we got them, but more just looking at expiration kinds of things here. So that's what I think I know. How does that sound to everybody?
Good work.
Yeah.
Sounds
So I think,
awesome.
so I think that's everybody. I think, Kate, you all had something for public health, but that was also in 2020. That wasn't this fiscal year, to my knowledge. There was a public health one at some point, but I'm 99% sure that wasn't this fiscal year. So I think I've caught everybody that I can think of. If somebody has one, well, we may have missed one from another department, but can't be very many of them, I don't think. So with that and a couple of edits, as we just talked about, I can go back and tinker with. If anybody has any other comments, or would you make a motion that I go ahead and present that with the edits?
I'll make a motion for you to present that with the edits.
I'll second it.
Okay. Could I have a vote, please?
Looks aye.
Gibson, aye.
Fetterman, aye.
Fowles, aye. Okay, thank you. All right, and then I guess the other thing is just to find out, is everybody here wanting to continue to serve on the ad hoc grant search committee? Should we ask select board to consider us to be reappointed and to extend the life of the committee, most likely. Do I still have still got willing volunteers out there?
Okay.
Quit now.
Yes, Kate,
Yeah.
yes. And Diana, I think I heard yes. Okay. All right. Well, I think, I mean, I think we were kind of kidding when we set that date, just saying, well, let us prove ourselves first and see if this is really worth it. But, I think we've done pretty well. Who knows what another year will bring, but I think this has shown that, there is money out there, and it takes a while to figure out which ones are appropriate and put the work together to go get them. But we've been quite fortunate this year. So that will be up to them, and whether they take that up on Tuesday or put it on an agenda for item for another week, that's another story. But anyway, so that's all I really had in mind. I know, Kate, you mentioned that the Mass Trails is coming up again. I saw that. and my only thing on that is just that we've got 3 of them ongoing and nothing really has gotten done on them yet. So I'm really hesitant on that one, but I think we've got time to think about any of those that were in that narrative part that are coming up. The earliest one I believe I said was February. And again, we've got to figure out who wants to approach us with anything that they would like to get done too, whether it be, I don't know, whether it be Concom or open space or parks or whoever that might be. But, I think we really still need to be
the one
in the
benefit
mode.
of Mass Trails is we have a lot of the data already compiled and a lot of the information collected, and there's a lot of narrative that hopefully would already be written.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and nothing ventured, nothing gained, and we do need design funds, and I think they really would look favorably on that. So
And Westfield's already doing the connecting part, so there's a lot of energy towards this particular part of the project.
Mm-hmm. So you're thinking specifically for design money for the Greenway? Mm-hmm. Okay.
yeah.
Okay. All right. Well, that's certainly a possibility. So maybe the next time we meet, we can start talking a little bit with at least the chair of the Greenway Committee, and maybe start to get him involved a little bit and see where we go with that. Okay.
I think the disaster plan is really important too, because I think, don't we need that to be eligible for MVP funding?
We do need to get the hazard plan updated, yes, and that's something probably we'll need to involve John Workman with as the emergency manager. So those are a couple things that we get through. I'm going to say we get through the month here, and then maybe early December we start tackling some of this stuff. But yeah, those would be the two immediate ones, I think. So good. Well, that's kind of all I had. Does anybody have anything else? And if not, could we set a next meeting? I did want to just keep this kind of short today, just to get through this part. And I know everybody's running in different directions. So what would make sense? Today's the 4th. Would you like to have another meeting this month before Thanksgiving, or?
I think so. I mean, there is a lot to talk about.
Mm-hmm.
And I'd rather start doing some sketching, because December's not going to be any less busy.
Well, that's true. With various things going on in December, that's true. It would be good if we could get another one in. Does Wednesdays or Thursdays work better for anybody in particular? I know.
Thursday would be preferable, because Wednesdays I have meetings pretty much all day.
Okay. Does this time frame work? I don't know, 2 o'clock-ish here. Does that work for most people? We made it a little bit earlier.
I could just book it, and then hopefully nothing else will come up.
Yeah. Okay. Diana, does that work for you?
For which day?
Thursday at 2-ish.
For
So that would be the 18th.
on the 18th. That's okay.
All right.
Yep.
Okay. And Ed, temporarily possible?
Yes.
Okay. Well, let's do that.
That's if select board will have us.
Yes. That's
Yeah,
true.
right.
That's true. Well, they'll meet again. So they're meeting on the 9th and on the 23rd. So we'll find out how Tuesday goes, and whether anything gets decided at that point. If not, it'll be on the agenda, I'm sure, for the 23rd. So we'll know one way or another, but yeah, as long as they understand that we'd like to keep on chucking along, that's fine. So good. So with that, we'll set that time. I'll get it scheduled. And Kate, if at some point you would just have a chance to take a look at the videos and scarf up some meetings for the last couple, that would be
I will
great.
try to do that before the next meeting.
Yeah, no, that's fine. So good. If there's nothing else, I'll just take a motion to adjourn.
I'll second.
Adjourn.
All right. All in favor?
Awesome.
Brooks, aye.
Bye.
All right.
Good night.
Fowles eye. All right. Good. I
Thanks,
thank you
Chris.
guys for joining in. Much appreciated. And Ed, I'll get you that report, or I'll send it to Judy and you. Is she there until 5 or 4 rather? 4. Okay.
Yeah.
I was kind of waiting on Ian to put in those last dates, but I could send the chart the way it is, and then
Well, send it the way it is. We'll send that out, and then I'll send an update out after the fact.
Are
okay.
you gonna send that out today? Because I will reformat my notes to correspond with what your requirements are.
Yeah, it goes out today.
Okay, I will do that right away and I'll send it to you right now.
All right.
All right, thanks.
Thank you.
Thanks much. All right. Good.
Bye-bye.
Bye, everybody. Thank you.
Bye-bye.